Hi everyone, we're up to week 9. We're just going to talk today more about responding and noticing within the counselling session. I just want to talk about emotions. Scripture is full of people expressing themselves with different emotions and strong emotions. And expressing the emotions isn't sin. It's what we do with them is the problem, whether we turn to God or whether we turn to sinful habits and responses. So God responds in different ways throughout Scripture, but he never denies what the people are feeling. So 3 common traps that we can fall into, and if you start listening in everyday conversation, you'll see how we all can do this, because we're not really thinking about what we're saying or really wanting to enter into the person's world to really hear their heart. So we can often rubbish what they're saying. Oh, well, that's a stupid way to feel. Or minimize. This often happens. Oh, you'll get better. It won't be that bad. And don't dispute. Well, I wouldn't feel like that. That's I would not have felt like that. So again, we're listening to what are their heart revealing, what are their hearts saying. So ask a question, tell me more, or help me to understand. So life experience and culture has taught us a lot about emotions. In our culture, I think as a Kiwi culture, men don't cry. For those of us who are a bit older, the old British ancestry or whatever, stiff upper lip old chap. Emotions aren't kosher. And for some people, anger has got them what they want. So there are 3 different responses to what we think is okay about emotion. And so as you're in the counselling room, and as you are hearing the emotional content of what others are saying, it's really important that you are comfortable, first of all, with your own emotions. Are you very good expressing your emotions? But then to be aware, how do you feel, even in a social situation, how do you feel if you're with someone who suddenly gets passionate or enthusiastic or angry? So again, just to be aware of how you're going to respond with all this, and just to prepare yourself and think about how you'll handle that in the counselling situation, because we're all different. I'm a very passionate person, so I love enthusiasm and a lot of passion, but I can overwhelm people, so we're all different. So just being aware of those things. Thinking aloud, again, this is something we all think as we're listening. And I think because of social, political correctness, I think, I certainly have become less, specific in what I might say. I feel a caution to ask questions that might be too personal. But in the counselling room, we need to do that. So if you're thinking something as they're telling us the story, and you feel that there's a component missing that you need, instead of trying to interpret or fill in the gaps, just simply say, look, you just mentioned something, or as I listen to you, I'm wondering. So we don't just interject, change the subject, which I can be really bad at doing. So I have to really work on this, because those questions, those sort of invitations, bring the counsellee along with us. So, we just want them to go along with us, and for them to see where we're going with our question. So that's thinking aloud. Another thing that happens in everyday conversation is what is termed immediacy. That's what's happening immediately in front of us. Again, for social correctness, we might gloss over that and ignore it because it might be too touchy-feely or something. But it's really important in the counselling room, again, to be aware of what's going on. You might notice that the client's getting upset or frustrated or angry or is looking anxious. So notice that and, comment appropriately. Look, you look upset. What's happening for you? Or my last question really seemed to annoy you. Is that right? Or what are you thinking right now? So the immediacy of using the dynamic that's going on in the counselling room is really important and very powerful. But again, just a caution that you might get a bad response because you might be really frustrating them or annoying them. And so just again, be prepared for that. And I'd say to, use the immediacy and the thinking out loud, perhaps when you've developed a bit of trust in the relationship. Again, just using these skills carefully and with caution and with thought. What else? But trust your sense, put it out there and see where the conversation takes you. So to be curious, to wonder is really important, being curious and, express it. The next little tool, if you like, is concreteness, helping the client to be concrete or specific. So the opposite of that is a generalized comment, which actually only brings confusion, doesn't bring clarity, and again, it doesn't help get to the heart of the matter of the problem. So, yes, helping the counsellee to be specific. This also helps for them to take ownership and responsibility of actions, of choices, of behaviours. And a good one to remember is I statements. So, again, you'll notice this in everyday conversation. You can be sitting having a coffee with someone and suddenly they're making all these you statements. Oh, don't you feel that? And don't you get angry when they do that? And, well, no, I mightn't get angry when they do that. So, but she's, the person's putting that on you. And so therefore, by saying, so that makes you angry that they do that. See, that's a generalized comment. And when suddenly it's reflected back, so that makes you angry. It's like, yeah, I guess it does. It does make me angry. Okay, were you aware of that? It's amazing how people aren't always emotionally aware of what's going on for themselves. So the I statements, and we need to practice in our own lives, the I statements. Oh, you make me really angry. No, I'm choosing to be angry. Or you're choosing to be angry with me. I'm not making you do anything. Yeah, so what else here? Also being concrete. It requires the counsellee to examine themselves and not hide behind the facade of generalities. Of course, counsellors might resist the attempts to make them be specific because for many people, it'll be a new experience, particularly people who have a real victim mindset. It's everyone's problem but theirs. Everyone's to blame but them. They're not part of the problem and they don't want to be part of the solution. So to help people to be more specific, you might ask questions like, can you expand on what you've just said? Or can you think of anything else that might be contributing to the problem? Or if, she's always angry at me. She just goes on and on. Oh, can you give me an example of how she gets angry with you? So because it's only when we get the examples do we know start to identify what the problem is. So you'll all know that from general conversations, that we need to get that specific detail to know how to offer the help, and to know to ask the questions or how to proceed with knowledge, because we can't just move on with just hearsay and I can't say that word, generalities. So just to recap on responding and noticing emotions: don't minimize them, don't rubbish them, don't or dispute them. Thinking out loud, trust those senses, put it out there, and do it in a way to bring the client along with you. Immediacy, bring into the room what is happening. Concreteness versus generalizations, help them to be specific and help them to use I statements. And practice these things, guys. Practice these things in the week. Be excited to see what you're going to uncover. Okay, God bless.